The Cowboys have their first win in the bag, and this week a couple more firsts for the Cowboys. The first home game of 2021 and the first divisional foe makes their way to Arlington as the Cowboys prepare to take on the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday Night Football. We'll look back and we'll look ahead a little bit on this edition of Special Edition from the Star in Frisco. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton. I'm Kyle Yeomans, and gentlemen, there were a lot of different moving parts to that Cowboys win in dramatic fashion over the Chargers in Week 2. 20-17 was the final score. But, Nate, I'll start with you. What did you learn that week?
I learned that they're very versatile. You know, they got players that can play multiple positions. We got the coordinators to make this happen. They're a very versatile team. That's what I learned from Week 1 to Week 2.
Yeah, I learned that, we fight. We fight. Our guys are going to battle it out. There are some good things that happen to us. There are some bad things that happen to us. But guess what? We always bounce back. And the defense, they came up strong. They were able to force some turnovers, and they're going to give our offense an opportunity to win the ball game.
Yeah, and for me, I learned that it's going to be extremely difficult to game plan for this offense. The first week we throw it for 58 times, over 400 yards, attack a weak Tampa Bay secondary. This week we knew the Chargers were vulnerable to the run. So we ran the ball for over 150 yards, got the job done. It's going to be hard to match up with this team.
It was a balanced attack this week as opposed to Week 1 against Tampa Bay, where the Cowboys threw the ball 58 times. And this time, Dak Prescott only had to throw 27 times. So offensively, much more balanced in Week 2. Defensively, you had to deal with a couple missing pieces. No Randy Gregory, no DeMarcus Lawrence. Instead, you had to see Micah Parsons as a part of the pass rushing off the edge. Isaiah, what did you learn about this rookie? And is he the most versatile player already as a rookie on this defense?
That boy is Mick Nasty. That boy is Mick Nasty. Obviously, Nate just talked about his versatility, our versatility as a defense, but a lot of it comes because of this young man right here. He is a playmaker. He loves the game. He has a motor out of this world. His ability to dip and rip and just his explosiveness just presents a problem for anybody. We can put him on the front line, second level, or we might even see that man at safety. But he's a dog.
Yeah, he's definitely a dog. This is, to me, one of the most impressive rookies I've seen since Des Bryant out there. His impact immediately on the field at linebacker. We got exposed last year with running backs out of the backfield. You put him at linebacker, he locks him up. We need to pop that pass rush because we're minus D-Law and Randy Gregory. What does he provide you? 8 quarterback rushes, a sack, a couple tackles out there. This guy is extremely impressive, and I haven't seen anything like it.
What he does, man, he does not allow anybody to lack. Everybody has to play wide open as hard as they can. They have to know their position. They have to know their job. This guy's a disciplined player, knowing what he needs to do, and it brings everybody together.
Parsons may not be back at the defensive end spot this week. Keona Neal, the linebacker who has seen more snaps than any other linebacker through the first 2 weeks of the year, he has been placed on the COVID reserve list, and he is questionable going into Monday. But outside of the defense, Dallas was able to jumpstart the run. We mentioned the balance on offense. How important was it to get the ground game going, Isaiah?
It's very important. I think that's the cornerstone. We're going back to last year's term. That's the cornerstone of our team. And without the ground game, we're going to have Dak throwing the ball 58, 60 times a game, which we know we don't need that wear and tear. So the 1-2 punch, Pollard's ability to get in there as well as Zeke is huge for us.
This is thunder and lightning. This is what we thought was going to happen this year. A more balanced approach is more sustainable than throwing the ball all over the yard each and every game. This type of offense, I think we can last all season with it.
And ditto, same thing, man. These guys are doing what they need to do. They're playing as a team, and it works. They're winning.
One of the reasons they were able to run the ball so effectively was because of second-year undrafted free agent Terrence Steele. The guy had a great game against Joey Bosa, which was a little bit unforeseen going into last week.
Yeah, Terrence Steele went out there and he was just that. He was steel. He was tough, right? He was tough against Bosa. He had a formidable challenge in front of him, and he went out there and took care of his business and gave our team an opportunity to be successful.
Yeah, he got my game ball out there. He went against one of the best defensive ends in the whole National Football League, held his own, wasn't a lot of chips out there, did great in the pass and the run. Hats goes off to Steele.
Kellen Moore, great job of helping scheme up things to help this kid. Great job.
The Cowboys were able to get it done last week against the Chargers, and they had to do it with their depth built by this front office. When we come back here on Special Edition, we are joined by one of the members of the front office. Stephen Jones joins the show. Special Edition returns after this.
Special Edition, presented by AT&T, is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Salvation Army, doing the most good. And by AT&T. This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the new Gym 7 scratch tickets. There's a Gym 7 scratch ticket for everyone, so play today.
Cowboys got a win in Week 2 despite missing a couple of their key pieces. That has to do with a lot of the depth that has been added from this Cowboys front office, and the Cowboys Chief Operating Officer Stephen Jones sits down with our very own Nick Eatman.
Hey Cowboy fans, I'm Nick Eatman along with Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer, and boy, it sure is nice to get a big win. The Cowboys got one on the road, if you will, even though it sounded like AT&T Stadium. But just how satisfying was it to go and beat a really good Chargers team?
Well, it was a big-time win for our football team. Be able to go in there and, of course, playing the Rookie of the Year, Herbert, who's going to be a great quarterback for them. They present a lot of problems on the defensive side of the ball. They're a really good defense and, of course, some great receivers. So we knew we had our work cut out for us. But we worked through everything, and, at the end of the day, to come out with a big win on the road certainly is a big lift for this football team and should be something that we can really build off of as we move forward. We had some challenges with some injuries, some COVID list guys, a suspension, so we had to work through those things, but hats off. We keep having guys step up 2 games into the season, and I do think that's the nature of our game. We're not the only team having to fight through injuries. Having to fight through COVID challenges. So our guys stepped up. Hats off to them. Hats off to the coaches for getting them prepared.
Micah Parsons, when you drafted him, you draft guys like that because they're so dynamic, but also because they can do so many things. Did you ever think that was in his wheelhouse as well?
Well, we thought pressure player was. That was one of the keys to us drafting him is, we really wanted to have a guy who could really pressure the passer. But coming straight off the edge, down in and down out, we didn't necessarily have that in our vision, but he's certainly shown he can do that. I think his versatility is going to be key because this guy can certainly line up at Mike linebacker, take advantage of some mismatches on the inside of an offensive line. As he showed against the Chargers, he can come off the edge. And then, of course, as you saw in preseason and training camp, this guy can be dynamic in coverage too, making plays on the ball, picking the ball, doing what you need there too. So the guy's very versatile. I do think he's going to be a real ace in the hole for Dan Quinn and what we can do on the defensive side of the ball to really not for the opposing team to really have some challenges as to how they want to try to move the ball against us.
First home game of the season coming up here on Monday night, Cowboys and Eagles. What do you love about this rivalry? I mean, it just seems like it doesn't matter what the records are. It's always going to be a pretty intense game.
Well, I agree. You throw them out. I mean, any of these NFC East rivalries are amazing, but for some reason the Eagles, there seems to be a little more zaza in that rivalry, if you will, and really wanting to get the best of one another. But I agree. You throw the records out. I mean, they've got a very gifted quarterback that we're going to have our hands full with because he certainly can beat you throwing the ball, but he's also a guy who moves around really well, and they're playing great defense. So, it's going to take, we got to play our very best, and certainly we look forward to it, but there's not going to be a better atmosphere than AT&T Stadium on a Monday night. I know our fans are ready to get back to a full house. Yeah. They supported us better than any probably team in the world last year, averaging about almost 30,000 fans a game. But I don't know it'll be great to have a full house, which we will have, and certainly that energy is going to energize our football team, and I think we're going to play great football.
All right, thank you. That's Stephen Jones, Cowboys Chief Operating Officer.
Thanks, guys. Nationwide bringing us our weekly interview. When we come back, who is Philly's biggest threat for a Dallas win?
This segment is brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you.
The 1-1 Philadelphia Eagles make their way to Arlington, Texas, and AT&T Stadium this Monday for Monday Night Football. First divisional matchup for the Cowboys of 2021, and we are Special Edition. Isaiah Stanback, Barry Church, Nate Newton, I'm Kyle Yeomans, and this is a Philadelphia team that through the first couple weeks of the season, they're the first team since 2011 without a turnover or a takeaway on either side of the football, so you would expect that to change a little bit this week. But Jalen Hurts at quarterback, second-year man out of Alabama, out of Oklahoma. He had the transfer in the middle there, but is he a threat or a liability whenever it comes to running that Eagles offense?
Not only is he a threat, he's a dual threat on that offense. You see what I did there? Yeah. But no, I mean, this young man is smart. He's one of the strongest athletes probably in this league. He has a cannon for an arm. He has patience, and obviously he has some speed. That's a problem. These guys probably have the fastest receiving core next to Seattle in the entire league. So these guys have guys that can get beyond our secondary. We're going to have to be really, really stout in the secondary to not allow big plays because that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I see him as a threat. And like you said, he's a dual threat guy. But this year he's taking that next evolution and that next step. Kind of Russell Wilson-esque the way he uses his legs to extend the play. Not just try to beat teams with his legs, try to do it all by himself. He uses his legs to extend the play, to try to attack you downfield. And look, if the Cowboys aren't careful, if they don't keep him contained, he could be a huge problem for these guys come Monday night.
I agree with you 100% that, Church, because when I'm looking at film now, last year he would look and he would get gone. Now he's extending the play. He's at least going to his second read before he's taking it off. So keep the pocket tight. Don't let him get outside.
In the backfield, along with Jalen Hurts, you have a guy like Miles Sanders who has really had a lot of success throughout his career, but not necessarily against the Cowboys. 3.8 yards per carry. He has 2 touchdowns in 5 career games, and he also has a fumble. So how do you see Miles Sanders, Nate, playing a factor in the run game for that Philly offense?
Much like the guy Eckler last week, he's a do-all type back. And he's matured, and once again, watching the film, he's a little bit better. So we'll see what he's going to do.
Yeah, this guy he's kind of a home run threat. I mean, he has the abilities to do three yards in a cloud of dust, but he also has the ability to take it 80 yards. So you never really know what you're going to get from Miles Sanders. But so far, while he's been in the league, he hasn't done much against the Dallas Cowboys. And from what I saw last week against Eckler, I'm not worried about Miles Sanders at all this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in our defense as well. I'm very confident. But to these guys' point, I mean, he's Eckler-ish. Yeah. Just don't sleep on him.
Isn't that crazy to say that this Cowboys run defense has gone from 2020 to being confident about it in 2021? What has happened? We're only 2 weeks into the year, but the Cowboys only gave up 95 yards on the ground last week against the Chargers. This is a Philly defense that gets after the run game as well. They are stout up front. They are top 5 right now in yards per game, points per game, and third down conversion. But which level of this defense, Barry, scares you the most?
It's got to be that front 7. I mean, even with the absence of Brandon Graham, who's out due to injury, they still have Fletcher Cox out there. And we know Fletcher Cox. We played against him plenty of times. This guy has always been a Cowboy killer. He's stout against the run, and he's very stout against the pass by getting an interior pass rush. I'm nervous about this guy to see what our interior guys can do with him, but hopefully Zach Martin can get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, Fletcher Cox, you just mentioned him. Obviously, we have Darius Slay in the secondary as well. That's somebody that we have to be concerned about because I think that these guys are going to force our hands in terms of taking our shots down the field. I think we are going to try to, exploit them in that manner. We just have to make sure that we don't leave it up there easy for him to be able to pick it off.
Fletcher Cox is still demanding a double team. So you're looking for that solo block, and that solo block has been a Hargraves for them, number 97. He's been getting upfield. He's got 2 sacks. And look out for Josh Sweat. He's pretty tough.
He's pretty tough, and there's a couple Sweats in this division that'll cause some troubles. Josh Sweat is going to try and cause trouble this week. They're missing a couple guys. Brandon Graham not available. He is out for the rest of the year. So there's a couple guys missing on that defense, but overall they will still get after the Cowboys. Can the Cowboys secondary have some success against the Eagles? Barry's going to hit the telestrator and break it down for you when we return to Special Edition.
This segment was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. This segment is brought to you by AT&T.
Cowboys force a couple turnovers in Week 2 against the Los Angeles Chargers, both of which coming in the secondary, and they'll look to try and have similar success in Week 3 against the Philadelphia Eagles. No better person to break it down than a former safety himself. Barry Church, taking a look at this Cowboys secondary and how they could use different ways to keep Jalen Hurts a little bit off balance.
Yeah, you got to use different ways for this guy. He's only in his second year, so he hasn't seen every defense out there. So what you can do is you can disguise your coverages, make him force him into making a mistake out there. You can do some exotic blitzes by bringing Jordan Lewis off the edge or having your defensive linemen align in a wide 9. You got to keep him in the pocket. When he gets out and becomes that dual threat guy, that's when he's at his best. That's when it's hardest to cover this guy.
Well, let's take back a look at week 1. This is against Philadelphia and Atlanta on the other side, and they like to use that little corner blitz.
Yeah, they use the nickel blitz right here. We got the corner coming in right here as a nickel blitz. And his path, when he comes in, it needs to be on the upfield shoulder of Jalen Hurts right here, because that's why you keep him contained. And if you lose him to the inside. And that's okay, because you got all these defensive linemen right here who can help you bring this quarterback down. But the nickel in this situation, his path, it was way too tight to the offensive lineman right there. It gave Jalen Hurts the opportunity to escape on the outside right here. And once he gets out of the pocket and uses his legs out there and becomes that dual threat quarterback, like I said, that's when he becomes his best, and it's hard to defend this guy. So let's run this play and see what we got here. As you see, the nickel coming on that blitz, way too tight right there. Jalen Hurts is able to avoid easily. And if we pause it right here, when we pause it right there, he has all this grass right here. All this grass right here. And that's what you do not want to see. Not a defender in sight, but all this grass. But if you notice, his vision isn't just, oh, let me go take off and beat these guys with my legs. His vision is downfield. He's looking to extend the play with his wide receivers and get them guys open and attack the play down the field. And as we see right here, if we run the play a little bit further, we see it. He's able to throw the ball, attack the defense by throwing the ball down the field instead of running it. If we do not contain this guy, he can be a problem for the Dallas Cowboys this Monday.
That might be the biggest difference for Jalen Hurts year 1 to year 2 already, is the fact that I think last year he probably would have taken off and run.
Without a doubt.
This year he throws it downfield. Now, Trayvon Diggs has been very successful through his first 2 weeks. What has he done well, and what did he do well against the Chargers?
Look, this is one of my favorite defensive backs. I feel like he's taken that next step to becoming one of the elite shutdown corners in the National Football League. We have Diggs up here lined up on one of the best receivers in the National Football League when it comes to releases and it comes to separation, and that's Keenan Allen. If we run the play a little bit right here, he's in man-to-man coverage. Pause it right there. Look at the release right there. The release he got him lost right there. There's already space between him and Keenan Allen right there. You do not want that as a defensive back. But what does Trayvon Diggs do best as we run the play a little bit more? He uses his makeup speed. And let's pause it right there. See where this guy's vision is right now? It's right on the player. It's right on Keenan Allen. It's right on his hip pocket. He's not looking at the quarterback. He's not looking to see, oh, man, is he going to throw it here? Is he going to throw it to my guy? His eyes are right on his package. And if we let the play run a little bit more, you see that makeup speed. That makeup speed is great. And let's pause it right there. Let's pause it right there. You see my guy right here. You see my guy right here, Diggs. He gets to the hip pocket, right to the receiver. Now he's in the position to make a play on the ball. As you see, his vision gets back to the quarterback. And as we run the play, he makes a great play right there, a great interception, diving interception. And for most defensive backs, that's just a bat down. That's a chase tackle. But this guy, he's special, and he's taking that next leap. 2
interceptions for Trayvon Diggs through the first 2 weeks. When we come back, we've got more special edition on the docket when we return.
This segment was brought to you by AT&T. Special edition presented by AT&T was brought to you by Ford. Built for Texas, built for you. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Dallas Cowboys. AT&T. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
A win this week would put the Cowboys over 500 for the first time since Week 12 of 2019. They would have to go and get a win on Monday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, rejoined by Isaiah, Nate, Barry. I'm Kyle, wrapping things up here on Special Edition. Nate, I want to start with you. Keys to getting a Cowboys win, and a big one over a divisional opponent.
It's simple for me. You know, you're at home, you play smart, you clean up last week's mistakes, you play smart. You're the better team. You should win. Home field advantage should be enough.
Yeah, for me, my key to the game is we got to keep Hurts bottled up. I mean, we got to make him play from the pocket. We can't have this guy become a dual threat quarterback, because when he does that, that's when he's at his best, and he has an opportunity to hurt these Cowboys. We got to do a great job of keeping this guy bottled up and contained.
And for myself, it's going to be patience on offense. Offensively, we are going to have to sustain drives. We're going to have to move the chains. They're going to be playing cover 3, single high safety. We're going to have to find those little gaps within their second-level defense, get our nice little 8 to 10-yard completions, and be satisfied with simply moving the chains down the field. And then when we get in the red zone, we got to capitalize.
This is going to be another big game for Kellen Moore and that offensive staff, because you've got to put Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott in a chance to be successful against that defense, and it's going to be a lot of fun on Monday night. That's going to do it for us here on Special Edition. We'll see you next week. Enjoy it, everybody.